What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. That's Dan Courtwright, and I'm Sean Kellerman. Thanks for joining us for another edition here. It's a loaded month for KU athletics here in November. Got basketball, football, soccer, volleyball going on. Volleyball and women's basketball were both in action last night. And we're going to open with the Kansas women, who, without a star player last night, got a victory over a team on the cusp of the top 25. Dan was out there at Fog Allen Fieldhouse getting content for us. And yeah, we're going to have some post-game sound as well from Lily Meister and Elle Evans. Meister, a double-double, and Elle Evans, she's heating up. We knew it was going to come. KU needed that with no Julia Davis.
Yeah, certainly a slow start for the year for Elle Evans, but she's really come to, and then a lot of other players stepped up, right? I mean, Lily Meister, for one, she had her first double-double in a Kansas jersey, I believe, of her entire college career. I don't think she had one at Indiana. She was able to step up. Reagan, obviously, has done such a great job all year, coming off the bench when they need her, and then now starting with Julia being out. Didn't expect Julia to be out. It kind of happened in shoot-around where she was dealing with some lower leg injuries. Not anything to worry about, is what Brandon said kind of after the game, but a marquee win over Minnesota. Minnesota, if the rankings would go to 30, they would be 27. Essentially, they were the second team getting votes in the other teams in the AP top 25, and a really solid program in Minnesota. And Kansas wound up beating them without their star freshman.
And if the rankings went to 27,
they would be 27.
How about that? The AP top 27. We should start making that a thing.
We should start making that.
Yeah. Hey, next segment, we're going to be joined by Mitch Bales from Gameday Men's Health Lawrence. Really pumped for the sponsorship we have over here at Kansas Nation. Mitch is going to tell you all about Gameday Men's Health here in Lawrence. They opened about a year and a half ago, and this is important stuff that all of us should be aware of. Mitch is going to fill us in here in studio about Gameday Men's Health Lawrence. Excited for that partnership. Following that, we're going to talk Kansas football. We're going to hear from offensive coordinator Jim Zebrowski. Of course, Kansas has been bemoaning the fact that second halves have been such a struggle offensively. Only one touchdown in the second halves of 4 of the last 5 games, as in you combine 4 of the last 5 games, tossing out Oklahoma State, just one total touchdown. And Coach Z talked about that. I said, it's not just the third quarter. It's not just the fourth quarter. It's both quarters. Kansas is struggling. There are a lot of elements offensively where Kansas needs to improve. We'll get into that. Plus, want to fit in a little note on a top 5 college basketball game that happened last night and some Thursday night football game picks as well. Following that, Brian Hanni, the voice of the Jayhawks, will be here in studio to talk all things KU. Of course, returned from Madison Square Garden, and now he goes to Ames, Iowa. What a trip for a day. I mean, he's literally going from Madison Square to the frozen tundra, in our opinion.
Some would say the New York of the Midwest, Ames, Iowa.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the New York
I think I've heard that maybe once when I just said it right
So then what's Vegas? Because that's the trip after that.
Vegas
The New York of the desert. We'll go with that.
Vegas is just Vegas.
He's going.
Everything to Henry Greenstein is the L.A. of like Vegas is the L.A. of the desert.
Greenstein got
Lawrence is the L.A. of
offended yesterday when we said Orange County. He's like, no, I'm from Los Angeles County.
I don't know geography
they're like a stone's throw away, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're neighbors.
It's like Wyandotte County and Johnson County. It's like people being like, oh, don't say I'm from Johnson County. I'm from Wyandotte. It's like you're in Kansas City. All the same.
I'm gonna give him a pass because he did literally travel back from MSG, dropped his stuff off, and walked over here for the interview.
Yes. Yeah,
we obviously love the California kid,
Henry.
but he was like, where'd you get this Orange County? I'm like, dude, that's right next to anyway. But yeah, Brian, of course, will be going from the city that never sleeps to a city that does not have a nickname.
Sleepy City.
City does not have a nickname, right? In Ames?
No.
No nickname to Sin City.
The corn capital of the world.
What a week plus for the voice of the Kansas Jayhawks. So he'll be here in studio to talk KU basketball and football. Gonna do a fantasy draft after that. Dan, you and I, we puttered around a few different ideas on how we want to mix in a Thanksgiving theme. I think the play is to keep it simple.
Yes.
Keep it effective. Best Thanksgiving plate. I think we do.
So we're going plates.
I think we nix the as basketball plate. I think we do that. I think we just do a snake draft. Okay. Who ends up with the best Thanksgiving plate?
Here's the incredibly frustrating thing about these drafts is that my brain works where I associate them with, like, I can associate
cranberries with a jump shooter.
Like stuffing with a 3-point shooter because there's kind of a specialist type deal. And then my brain is wired like that, and yours is not.
Correct.
And you continue to beat me in these drafts.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how it works. And
It's
mine's always like last second I come up with some
yeah,
BS
no.
that I can put on air.
Your Google search literally just says like Thanksgiving food, and you're like,
I don't know, man.
That one, I don't know, is my center, and he beats me every time. I
There
put
were a
thought
couple
and effort into these.
I do feel like outperform you when it's not related to those as well, though.
That's
Like
fair.
I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
do.
the Desert Island one.
Yeah.
I mean, I had some
Maybe I
really
just don't know
quality.
ball.
It could be it.
That could be.
It could be.
I'm like the Cleveland Browns of drafts.
If
I cannot hit one.
We're going to close out the show today hearing from a couple KU football players, Dak Brinkley and Nolan Gorczyca, who met with the media earlier this week. On tomorrow's show, we're going to hear from Jalen Daniels and some other KU football players as well as Coach Brandon for the Kansas women. But Dan, break down this Kansas women victory last night, knocking off Minnesota. Again, a marquee victory, 63-57, really a great start for Coach Brandon. And again, didn't have Jalea Davis. We'll talk about Samaya Nichols, but let's start with Lily Meister. She comes over from Indiana. What do you like about her game, and what did she contribute so well last night to Kansas picking up this 6-point win?
Yeah, I mean, she's a classic big, right? I mean, you look at maybe some of the deficiencies of last year for Kansas women's basketball is the fact that they didn't really have a big. And look, Reagan Williams, you love her. She does an excellent job when she's out there, but she's just not big enough. And Lily Meister, she is around the same height. I think she's maybe like 1 inch taller than Reagan, but she's long and lengthy, and she's got that big body, and she's able to rebound much nicer. She's got classic, like fundamental post moves that you can see. She's a hell of a rebounder. And I mean, you just love what she brings to the table because you look at all of the pieces around, and she was basically the missing piece that we really needed. And we talked about the Lily Meister when she came in, and we're like, yeah, she'll be fine, like a good piece. Didn't really play a whole lot in Indiana. She was okay at times. I certainly didn't expect this out of her. I thought Reagan would kind of come in, not take a step off and continue to play at that 5 position. But I mean, Lily Meister has come in and made an absolute impact. She's started most of these games and done incredible. And again, like I said, the missing piece, right? You have Samaya, the All-American point guard. You have Elle, the 3-point shooter. You have all these freshmen, wing types with Lily and Keeley, kind of on the outside with Sanaya. Even you look at those wings and you go, they're classic prototypical wings. Then you have Jalea at the power forward spot, who's just a monster down there. You kind of were missing just a big center with long, lengthy arms who can reach over people and get rebounds and finish at the basket. And Lily is the epitome of that. And this is her first double-double, I believe, of her college career. So she played excellent, 5 for 9 from the field, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line. And I even asked Brandon after the game, I said, what'd you think of Lily's performance tonight? He said it was good, but he wants to see her shoot the 3 more, because she can do it, right? So she's kind of that stretch 5, almost like I bring up this name because it is a relatively similar, not same height, but Hunter Dickinson was able to do that as well. Hunter Dickinson was able to hit threes, and you don't really see that too often out of centers, especially at the women's level. So she has the green light. Brandon wants her to shoot it more. She did shoot 3 of them. He wants it more. So she did an excellent job. 10 rebounds, 11 points, and she was dominant throughout the entire game. That was the story of it. But the biggest story to me, and go ahead.
I was just going to say the Kansas women now still undefeated. What was impressive about this one for me, and then I'll let you finish. Kansas wins with scoring just 63.
Yeah.
A game after they beat an SEC team by giving up 77. So they win a high-scoring affair, and then they win kind of a muddied-up, low-scoring affair. Also, Minnesota took 20 more shots than Kansas in this game. KU was able to compete with them on the glass. It was 33-33 total rebounds. KU had a lot of turnovers, 19. Samaya Nichols had 6. That's going to happen when you're on the ball so much. She's so good at drawing contact, though. And a lot of times the number of field goals attempted doesn't tell the whole story because of free throws, right? If you go up taking a shot and you get fouled, it doesn't count as an official field goal attempt. And Kansas shot 17 free throws. Samaya Nichols hit all 12 of hers and scoring a game-high 24. But I like the fact that Kansas, again, without Jalea Davis, was able to do this. In these last 2 games, they've proven they can win in different ways. That's not nothing. That's going to prove to these girls that they can get it done.
100%. And I mean, it's kind of weird when you only have 12 girls, you don't seem to think about depth, but Kansas has depth because all 12 of those girls make an impact on this team. We saw, I think, all 12 of them in the game in that in this game. And we saw Tatiana Brown come in. She got some really good minutes, especially on the defensive end of the ball. She's going to be a big time player for Kansas, especially later in her career. Obviously, playing that 4 spot behind Jalea is going to be tough, but she can transition over to a 5 if she really needs to. But yeah, like you were talking about, Samaya is the story of this game. We could talk all day about Lily Meister, but Samaya, 24 points, 12 of 12 from the free throw line. And we talked about this with Trey White, how getting to the free throw line, kind of weird how you kind of view it as, all right, well, is that really a skill set? It absolutely is. And Brandon even brought this up in post game too. He said Samaya last year was 3rd in the nation in free throws attempted. Right? That just goes to show you how good she is at drawing those fouls, and not only drawing the fouls, but getting into the lane and trying to finish at the rim. She's not afraid of contact, which I think is very, very important for Samaya. And Samaya, early in this game, she went out of bounds to try to save a ball, and there was a water bottle on the ground. I believe it was one of the cheerleaders, and she slipped on the water bottle and tweaked her knee. And we know that she's dealt with knee injuries in the past, so that was very scary. She goes down. She looks very, very injured. She goes over to the sideline, has some kind of wrapping on it. We thought, okay, it's at least for me, my mind jumped to the conclusion of, oh gosh, Samaya's out. Like she messed up her knee again, out for the year. This is going to be bad. Laya Canessa came in, and I thought she had really good minutes. The stat sheet doesn't show it, but I thought Laya was really good at facilitating the ball. And then Samaya, all of a sudden, about 5 minutes later, she comes back in and just takes over the game. And I thought that was incredible. It showed grit. It showed toughness. And we know how tough Samaya is, on and off the court. And just an excellent job by Samaya for, kind of battling through that. Because that's a scary thing, right? To go down and slip on a water bottle with a knee injury that you previously had already had. But she came in and didn't miss a beat, which was really, really encouraging to see.
63-57, the Kansas women over Minnesota. Let's hear from a couple of the stars of the game, post-game, Elle Evans and Lily Meister.
Double-double for you tonight. Just how'd it feel to get out there and get that on the stat sheet?
That feels great. I cannot complain at all. I think I've been pretty close a couple games, so it feels good to actually get one for sure.
Lily, what does this win mean for you playing against a program in Minnesota, as you're originally from Rochester, Minnesota?
Feels good. I think everyone loves to beat the state they're from. I don't really know why. I think it's just like a weird rivalry people have, but it does feel good. My last matchup with them, I lost, so it feels good to finish on the win.
Elle, you were 3 of 4 from 3 again tonight. 3 straight games where you've shot really well from beyond the arc. Just what's going right for you right now?
Obviously, I think my teammates are giving me good passes and stuff, but the ball is feeling really good right now, and I credit that obviously to myself, but also Brandon. He puts me in the right spots at the right time, and my team sets pretty good flare screens for me, so credit to them too.
When it's come down to the wire like that, under 2 minutes, close game, within 2 points, what's the message that Brandon says to you guys kind of in the huddle?
I think probably one of the biggest thing is get a stop and don't foul. And then once we get the rebound, secure it, call a timeout. But also on the offensive end, I think we wanted to get to the line because it stops the clock and gets points on the board for us. So those were some key points.
In the second quarter, Minnesota went on a 12-0 run, and Kansas had 7 turnovers during that time. There was a timeout called, and then immediately following the timeout, there was a change in momentum. So tell me a little bit about that timeout, what was talked about, and what changed from there.
Yeah, I think they definitely punched us in the face in that moment. We kind of knew it was coming. Basketball's a game of runs, so it always, we know we're going to be ready for that. But I think we just had to lock in on the offensive end. Turning the ball over, doing live turnovers is not something that anyone wants. So I think making smarter decisions on the offensive end helped us.
Lily, with Jalea, knowing that Jalea is not going to be in this game, what's kind of the conversations between the bigs down low as to like, hey, somebody's got to step up and kind of take that place?
Mm-hmm. I think we all knew we had to step up a little bit more, not just the post. Obviously everyone knows when a teammate goes down, we all got to improve a little bit in everything we do. And for the post specifically, I think we just focused on, staying out of foul trouble just because we're not as deep without Jalea. But I thought we did a great job. I thought Tati came in, had an immediate impact. Nadira did great. And then obviously Reagan had a great game too. So I'm really proud of him.
And what kind of encouragement have you been receiving from your teammates as you've been on fire as of lately?
I'd say to shoot every single one. And that's, something that I definitely don't take for granted whenever you have your whole team and your whole coaching staff mad at you when you don't shoot. It's a blessing. So, yeah, hopefully keep it rolling.
Samaya had 24 points tonight. Just tell me a little bit about what she brings to your team, other than obviously points.
I think Samaya is a great all-around player. She's the leader of our team. She does so many little things for us. But I think looking at the stat sheet, 12 for 12 free throws, and a lot of those were down the stretch in crunch time. So those are really good for us, and we're definitely lucky to have her as our point guard. I say for sure. Would not want to play against her.
Anything else for players?
How much pride do you all take in the fact that you guys have won 37 consecutive home games at Allen Fieldhouse against non-conference opponents?
I don't know.
I didn't know that either. That's a good stat. Obviously, we're so blessed to call Allen Fieldhouse our home court. We know it's such a hard place to play. So we know when teams come in here, they're going to give that extra toughness factor. So I think it's on us to kind of punch them in the mouth, knowing that they're going to come in here with a chip on your shoulder because Allen Fieldhouse is so historic and such a hard place to play.
All right, thanks, ladies.
That's Elle Evans and Lily Meister post-game. The Kansas women still unbeaten, 63-57. A nice victory over a Big Ten team, and a quality one at that, the Minnesota Golden Gophers at Allen Fieldhouse last night.
I think they're going to get some votes.
Yeah,
in the
they've
AP.
got to be, right?
I know you're going to throw it a break, but you got to think they're going to get some votes in the AP.
Mitch Bales from Gameday Men's Health Lawrence will join us after this on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright, rolling you through your Thursday. Busy time right now for KU Athletics, and we're going to have a special guest come in studio right now. Mitch Bales, the owner of Gameday Men's Health Lawrence. Mitch, appreciate you taking the time to come over here. First off, I got to start with the KU Duke game on Tuesday. I'm sure you were locked in as the Hawks, they threw a dart at it, couldn't quite come all the way back. But I want to ask you about game day, but first, your thoughts on the Jayhawks on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think they first, I'm just pumped to be here, guys. So
Yeah.
we're really excited to be partnered with you all. It was a heck of a fight in the first half. Obviously not having Darren was a big deal, and you wonder if him playing the difference would have made that a lot closer, a victory. I thought the fight was there. I thought losing Flory in the end of the first half was a dagger. And Trey looked amazing. I mean, that guy is looks like the real deal.
He's a baller, man.
Yeah.
So, pumped to see where they go from here. I mean, early season losses, Bill doesn't mind it, kind of puts them in their place a little bit and has us fighting back. So I expect they will.
Yeah, Coach Self, he's good at, I guess, let's say, revisiting those losses later down the line if needed.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
No doubt.
But Mitch, we're so stoked about this partnership with Gameday Men's Health Lawrence. I mean, this is something that's really important to me as a dad, and I'm going to ask you about that here shortly. But first, for people who don't know, because Gameday Men's Health could mean a number of things, explain to us where you're at, exactly what you guys do at Gameday.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so Gameday Men's Health, we're located on the west side of Lawrence on Wakarusa, just south of Billings. And some people think we're like a gym or a fitness place with the name like Gameday Men's Health. So what we are is a sports lounge, man cave style setting, but it's a full-fledged medical practice. So I've got a medical director, I've got a nurse practitioner who's the clinic director, and then I've got a team of about 3 to 4 nurses. With healthcare and with guys, you got to make it really comfortable in a cool setting. We're the first to miss an appointment or not show up, not really address our health until something bad is happening. So what we wanted to do was create a really cool, comfortable environment for guys to come in. We've got black walls, sports memorabilia, leather couches, flat screen TVs. We want to make it feel very comfortable for the guys, and that's what we've done. So we've been open about 1.5 years, and really our core 4 services are testosterone replacement therapy. We do vitamin and peptide therapies. We have an IV drip room. We do the GLP-1 weight loss, and then anything in the erectile dysfunction arena. So the difference and differentiator for our clinic is guys come in, they go through in-house labs in about 20 minutes. We do a blood draw. We rule out any prostate cancer issues. We know their testosterone levels. We have labs in-house, and then the consult with our nurse practitioner to go over those results and the health of the guys and understand what their goals are. All of that happens in one visit, under an hour, and it's free. I cover the cost for that. We want the guys to know their numbers.
That's
So
awesome.
we've had a ton of fun doing it. We're growing like crazy, and we just want to keep advocating for guys to come in and check out their health.
Couple things you said that really caught my attention. Mentioned you're a dad, I'm a dad, and it's tough, right? One thing that guys do in general, like you said, is kind of wait till something bad happens, and then sometimes it's too late. You know,
Yep.
it's like you got to get ahead of these things. But the other thing, and I know people know this who have kids, time, right? It sounds like what you guys do is very efficient. Like you can go one-stop shop, get all this taken care of, get results quickly, and don't have to worry about, the painstaking process like some of these other businesses have.
Absolutely. Guys are after speed and efficiency, and I've been in the healthcare space for 25 years. Before starting Gameday, I was on the health insurance brokerage employee benefits side, working with insurance companies, big pharma, big health systems, and the archaic traditional medical system just doesn't work anymore. It's more of a sick care system, not a healthcare system.
Mhm.
So that's a huge differentiator for us. The guys come in, they're going to know all their numbers within 45 minutes. The traditional setting is you're having multiple visits, waiting 2 to 3 weeks for your lab work, being nickeled and dimed along the way. Not with our process. So the other interesting observation in this business is I'm 47 now. I've been optimizing my testosterone levels because I was deathly low. And it's natural for guys to start losing testosterone levels at around 40. We have patients in their mid to late 30s that have testosterone levels of a 65-year-old. So it's just there's no shame in the game. This is a natural part of life. Once we hit about 35 or 40, testosterone levels start to drip away from our bodies, and testosterone is the fuel in a man's body, and it's just natural that we get depleted over time. So the average age of our patients is actually late 30s. It's not late 40s like I am. I would have thought I was the poster child for the business. So our range is really late 20s to about 70. And that sweet spot is really probably 35 to 55.
Wow.
So that's who we're really speaking to out in the community.
Right. And Mitch Bales, Gameday Men's Health, joins the show. And that was one thing that I was going to ask you about. When I was 22 years old, I thought, I'm invincible and I'll never, my body's fine. And then I'm 27 and I feel my body slowly deteriorating
Yeah.
like a rotting pumpkin.
Yeah.
Talk to maybe some of the younger guys in terms of because for me, I actually do I do feel fine, but also you do just it's important for healthy checkups every once in a while, right? That's kind of something that maybe a lot of guys, maybe my age, are like, I'm fine. I'll worry about that kind of
Yep.
later. Just talk about the importance of kind of just hey, you should get checked up every once in a while just to make sure everything is all the gears are working, all the lights are turning on, that kind of stuff.
Right. And that's really the prime reason why we didn't want to create a financial barrier for guys to come in and know their numbers. So it's
Yeah.
like everybody has 45 minutes in their day. Go in, have a blood draw, understand all your numbers, have a great visit with our nurse practitioner, and decide from there. It's not going to take multiple weeks. You're not going to have any cost for that. I cover that. So just come in and know your numbers, and that's the biggest piece is guys just get off the couch, come in, develop a new normal. Because when we get into a rut of, well, this is just part of life. I'm just getting a little tired. I have 2 little kids. I just expected this is just what happens in life until I realized I was 268 with my testosterone levels. And somebody like me who works out and trains and is very active, I need to be 900 with my levels. And that's
Wow.
where I am now. And the
Mhm.
light switch went off, and it's a game changer.
That's incredible. I mean, that jump alone is impressive. And yeah, I mean, you can tell. We joke a lot. You say you have a dog. I have a daughter, and I'm like,
Yeah,
man, I'm
it's
I'm
the same thing.
exhausted. I'm exhausted. But it's more than just that, right? I mean, even if you feel like you got 8 hours of sleep, 9 hours of sleep, or whatever, you might not be at your best, and there might be reasons for that beyond just burning the midnight tequila, playing with your kids. It's just one of those things that you got to get checked up. Tell us about your 3-step process at Gameday Men's Health. I know you've touched on it a little bit, Mitch, but what I really like about what you guys are doing is that it's not a cookie cutter type thing. Like every guy is different, and it seems like you go in there and they're really gonna make you feel like you're important because you're not the same as the last guy who walked in the door, right? This is something that they're going to make sure that you're taken care of for your specific needs.
Yeah, absolutely. So the three-step signature process, when guys walk in, they've already completed all their medical intake forms either online or on their phone. So they don't sit down like a traditional office, the doctor's office sterile setting where they're filling out a bunch of paperwork and waiting 30, 45 minutes. They don't even get a chance to sit down. They're going right back. Nurse is taking them right back to a room for a blood draw. And we test for prostate specific antigen PSA to rule out any prostate cancer issues. And then we have a vial that we draw for testosterone levels. And that happens in our lab in about 25 minutes where the guys are hanging out, enjoying a refreshment, watching Kansas Nation on screen. And then when the results are delivered to my nurse practitioner, a very thorough consult talking about all the programs. And then if the guys are ready to sign up and they qualify, let's just say for testosterone replacement therapy or GLP-1 weight loss, they get their first injection and they're out the door. So from walking in to blood draw, to lab work, to consult, to first injection, all in under 1 hour. And that doesn't exist anywhere else.
And I want to talk to you because there's a number of different things that you do, and a lot of times when you go into this place, I'm sure you get this all the time. Guys go, "I didn't even know you did X, Y, and Z." I just came up for a
Yeah.
checkup, and I didn't realize that you did all of this stuff. Maybe kind of highlight some of the other stuff that maybe some people don't know that you
Sure.
guys do.
Yeah, it's a great point. I'd say 2/3 of our guys and our patients, we have about 400 patients now, are on our testosterone replacement therapy, monthly membership program. Half the guys do their injections at home on their own time, conveniently. The other half of the guys live local and they don't want to mess with injections at home. They just pop in. You want to do testosterone injections every 7 days, so you stick to the same day each week. They pop in. They don't even need an appointment. They run through. The nurse takes them back, injects them, and they're out. Um, but while they're there, we talk about, peptides is kind of the next wave in healthcare, which are basically short chain amino acids that trigger messengers in your body to do its job better, whether it's sleep, libido, muscle mass, dropping the weight, some of those things. So peptides, we have an IV drip room. So for perfect time right now, going into winter, you want to boost your immunity, come
Yeah.
in for a hydration drip. Guys are looking at New Year's resolutions, getting their health in order. Maybe it's losing weight. We have access to all of the top compounding pharmacies that source GLP-1 weight loss. So they may be in there for TRT and they realize, I really need to lose some weight. And so maybe the weight loss. Actually, we're seeing a number of women come in for the GLP-1 weight loss or vitamin therapy. So even though we're Gameday Men's Health, we have a number of women that come to us as well for some of the services. So yeah, we've got it all posted in the clinic. The nurses are really good about talking about our additional services, whether it's erectile dysfunction treatments, not just a Band-Aid approach with supplying guys medication that might work for a fun night or a weekend, but let's
Yeah.
get to the issue and root cause of ED issues, which is normally a blood flow issue. And we have the treatments and the devices to really kind of break up the kink in the hose, if you will. So.
Mitch Bales, Gameday Men's Health, joins us here. And Mitch, one aspect of it that really kind of speaks to me is the fact that it is kind of like a man cave like setting, right? The place is awesome. It's kind of like this Kansas Nation studio, except for Sean and I aren't doctors. I mean, you can come in, I'll hit your knee with a little hammer, but that's about all I can do. Talk about that process and kind of how important you think that is, because for a lot of guys, it might be a little, hard for them to kind of, want to go in. So your main goal is to make them feel comfortable in that kind
Absolutely.
of setting.
Yeah, I mean that's really the essence of what we've created, and it's why we have guys coming to us from our roster of clients is coming from Manhattan, Hayes, Salina, Topeka, Eudora,
Wow.
DeSoto, all over the place because there's no place like that in their communities. And that even if there was a med spa or an esthetician place or their primary, it's just not a real comfortable setting for them. They don't want to
Sure.
go and sit there and maybe 3/4 of the folks in the lobby are women and they're there for esthetician work or female hormones. The guys aren't going to feel comfortable doing that. So when they come in, they feel like they're in their man cave in their basement.
Yeah.
And it's funny because after they get their injection or on their way out, they're like, "Can I just hang out on the couch and watch Sports Center for
Yeah,
a little bit?
right.
Because when I go home, my
Yeah,
wife's going to put
feel
me to
free.
work.
Right,
You know,
right.
and I'm like, absolutely, let's hang out.
Yeah,
you
go
know,
for
so
it.
it's fun because the guys get to know one another. They're buzzing through. We might have 30 to 40 guys coming through the clinic in a day for their injection. They get to know one another. I'd say the other thing that's really cool is about half our patients are first responders, police, fire,
Oh, wow.
ex-military,
It's awesome.
guys that, which I really want to touch on, that have dealt with a lot of stuff overseas for our freedom. And
Yeah.
they come back and they're dealing with serious mental health issues and PTSD and things like that.
Sure.
What we're seeing now is a trend of when you optimize and balance out hormone levels, all of a sudden the depression and sadness goes away for these guys. I can't tell you how many guys have sat and cried with my nurse
That's
practitioner about
life-changing.
getting their life back.
It's incredible. yeah.
They were at the end of their rope on the edge of the cliff, and they were on SSRIs and antidepressants from their psychiatrist or psychologist, and that just wasn't doing the trick for them. And now we're having those providers send patients to us to go through the free test and saying maybe it's your hormones that need to be optimized.
Wow.
We optimize the hormone levels. They get off the antidepressants. Now they have the zest for life again. That's super meaningful and important for us. So we want more and more guys that are feeling like that to come into us, and more providers to send their patients to us for that.
It legitimately is life-changing stuff, and not just for ex-military, first responders, anything like that. For all of us,
Yeah.
it's life-changing stuff. Game Day Men's Health Lawrence in West Lawrence, 4910 Corporate Center Drive, Suite 100. 4910 Corporate Center Drive. Swing by, say hey to Mitch Bales. He's the owner, franchise administrator over there. Mitch, so glad that you could find the time to come in this morning, and looking forward to many more conversations, and hopefully this partnership continues for a long time, because we're just jacked here at Kansas Nation.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, fellas.
You got it. That's Mitch Bales, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. After this, Rock Chalk Sports rolls on here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports here, KansasNation.com, ESPN Kansas City. Disappointing game last night for KU volleyball. They got swept. Straight set loss to Utah, a team who's not near the top of the conference, Dan, and certainly we knew it was going to be tough. KU volleyball in the midst of this 4-game road trip. Their next one is at number 25 BYU. That one on paper probably scared you a little bit more, but it was Utah's night last night on the Salt Lake.
Yeah, Utah got off to a really hot start, right? And Kansas, I think, was a little bit on their heels, and just things were rolling Utah's way. And look, they were pumped up on the bench. I was able to catch the last set because I was at the women's game, and I mean, it was very much back and forth. But I mean, there was just a little bit of miscommunication with Kansas and their setters and their hitters. Iono had a fantastic game. Zelenovich had a fantastic game, but at the end of the day, I mean, just things were not clicking for Kansas, and it was abundantly clear. You saw that, especially in that third set. So really unfortunate. You don't want to start off the first game of what is going to be essentially a 4-game road swing. Now this is an extended road trip out in Utah, and you certainly don't want to lose the first game of an extended road trip out in Utah, because, like you said, BYU a lot better than Utah. Utah was only 4-10 in conference play.
Probably more concerning for KU volleyball, like we talked about yesterday, is you got to stay in the top 16.
Yes.
And we mentioned yesterday that they controlled their own destiny. They had won 10 of 11. They had won 5 straight before dropping this one to Utah. Probably still going to be in the top 16, but maybe not if they don't win against BYU. So all of a sudden, a road trip that you were probably happy beforehand going 3-1, now you feel like you probably have to go 3-1.
Yeah.
Because if Kansas starts 1-1, you drop another one, you're 2-2, then you're definitely going to be a little wobbly, somewhere in the top 20, I'm sure, but that top 16 is so important. It would be a marquee victory if KU is able to win in Provo tomorrow night, but yeah, a step back, which we haven't had too many of those here in Matt Ulmer's first year. Hopefully KU can take care of business against the Cougars, who seemingly, like Henry Greenstein said yesterday, have a good athletic program. I mean, they've got non-revenue sports, revenue sports. It seems like they're always in the conversation. A good addition to Big 12 BYU, and hopefully, like I said, the KU volleyball team bounces back tomorrow night, gets a top 25 victory. Kansas football back in action Saturday, 11 a.m. up in Ames, Jack Trice Stadium. Crimson and Blue Show coverage begins at 9:30 on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The KU offense has labored a bit in the second halves here in the past 5 games or so. Let's hear from offensive coordinator Jim Zebrowski, who spoke to the media a couple days ago.
All right, that's good. That's a quick one. obviously you're still focused on this season, but next year you have a quarterback battle coming out. I'm wondering how important those bowl practices would be when you're trying to kind of get those guys more work.
They're important. We talk about that when you're building a program. Those extra 15 practices are huge. We just joke around. You didn't have bowl practice at Whitewater, but when you played 5 extra games, you had 25 extra, or whatever it was, for 20 practice. Like, it's amazing. You ever think about it? Those kids actually played like 2 extra seasons compared to everybody else. So 50 practices are huge. They really are for just development, especially nowadays, especially at the quarterback position. A huge developmental opportunity.
Jim, as you're spending time on that last bye week and kind of evaluating and looking forward, was there anything that jumped out that you didn't expect to see, that maybe that extra time to have to look at it gave you a chance to discover or see or whatever?
Season-wise or?
Yeah. See, you know, something that you might emphasize heading into the final couple weeks that you didn't expect.
No, it kind of reiterated. It's a really good question too. It kind of reiterated the fact that we're not doing a great job in that third and or fourth quarters. You know, and either or, like sometimes it'd be an okay third and then not good fourth, or a solid fourth but not a bad third, or how you say bad, but not productive. Sure. So trying to figure that out, because like I said early on in the season, it was like really good. Like it come out and score at halftime. Now then also we got a low, not being able to score when we come out of the locker room. And then like Arizona game, didn't score, and then had a solid fourth quarter opportunity to put the game away. So that's kind of like the thing, just to reflect on, okay, what is there something being called? Like, you know, because so many different ways to look at, like, am I calling things differently than I should be? And obviously, I was with myself first going, am I doing this, am I doing that? So that's kind of the time I reflect on that a lot, just trying to figure out those, how do we keep momentum going? So we had some really good end of halftime. Yeah, Oklahoma State was great. But then after that, we went back to like, had a little lull, and then bounced back in the fourth quarter. So just trying to figure that thing out. It's kind of like, why, that's what I reflected on. So nothing, anything like earth shattering, like, oh my gosh, we're not doing this. That's kind of like, okay, why? Trying to keep the momentum going.
Where do you look for that, the momentum to?
I look at myself. I look at the play calling. I look at the, I kind of go play by play and go, okay, sequences. Move this, or call this, or call that, or kind of give this kid an opportunity, or however. You know, there's so many different ways to go about it. That's what I always get. Because it's easy to say, oh, well, we missed this block, or we dropped this pass, or we made a bad throw, or we turned. I'm like, oh, well, if I could have done this different, what would I have done? You know, what could I have done? And who knows, that would have worked either. As well as we wanted it to. And so I said, you know what's so fun? It's crazy. You guys know, in all the sports you guys cover, it's like there's just a moment, there's a play, there's just missing this throw, or just like Emmanuel just missing that corner out in the third quarter. You know, just that. It wasn't like, it was a good ball, it was a good route, great protection, third and 4. So it's just like that, gosh, he's got to finish that in one moment and be on our side.
Sure. Are there non-X's and O's parts of that momentum that you're seeking or talking about?
Well, potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Do you look for that much? Or
yeah,
is that...
you hope. I think that's what we do really good job practice-wise. Kind of give us a chance to see that sometimes in the guys. You know, see if that kind of the way we practice and the number of reps we get kind of helps out a lot. But you do. You kind of look at it all. But it always still comes back to me.
Do you spend any more time with DK because he has at least a familiarity with Iowa State?
Yeah, it was good, really good last year to start the guy. But then we had Coach Traz, our analyst, is with at Iowa State too on the offense side. So he's kind of helped. So it's been good to have some people who have been there and done that and seen it, you know, and worked that way. So it was last year more so because it kind of stayed the same for the most part. But yeah, it's been good to talk to him about some of that stuff for sure. Just schematically, and then personality, you see how he knows some of the personnel. Obviously, but like just a schematical part, sometimes just kind of get a general understanding of what's going on, for sure.
Schematically, you've seen something like this, but they're kind of like the grandfather of this. What are you seeing out of their defense up to this point?
You know, I'm really impressed with their defense is they've got injuries in the back end. You know, they have some injuries, and they keep playing well. And that's what's really impressive. Because obviously, they kind of started the whole 3, drop 8, rush 3 variation version that people kind of built. I remember years ago watching it, like, I kind of felt like, man, they might have done that to slow Homer down back in the day. Who tried to slow those up-tempo teams type down. They did a great job of it. And then everybody kind of piggybacked and jumped on that deal. But I see a group of kind of like, and this was the 5 going on 5 years? Going on 5 years, playing those guys physical, tough kids. You know, the linebacking core is always kind of their strength. They always have occasional, their whole team's strength. The linebacking core, those tough guys that just play hard downhill and kind of guy I'm sure coach there wants to have. So I still see that. So even the guys that brought in the back end just are fundamentally sound and solid. Just don't give up big plays. I think a really good job of making you drive. And they're going to do anything, they'll bend somewhat. You know, they're do their darndest not break and make you, like most good defense try to do, let's make the offense drive 10, 12, 14, 16 plays, which is not always the easiest. So it's kind of similar, but I'm really impressed by them putting different pieces and still playing really well defensively.
What are some of the challenges that poses in the run game when you have so many different guys moving around in the back half?
It causes different, as you get used to it, it's not, I say, you get more, I say easier is the wrong word to use, but you see it more, so you're more used to it, seeing it. But it's like different people coming at different angles. You're so used to a 4 down or even a 5 down back in the day, of where guys like the linebackers are fitting and safeties are fitting. Now this whole thing kind of started with like a story called a star, but the free safety type. There's a free hitters. You guys start accounting for people that you never had to account for in the run fits. That's what kind of causes some uniqueness in the run game. You have to do some different things that you don't have to do other weeks to try and account for the people that they bring in the box.
Anything else for Coach Zebrowski?
Yeah, Coach, what have you seen from Nolan Gorczyca?
Well, not fun. It's been good to see him play some tight end out there a little bit. But I've seen a kind of a, how do you say this? He's upbeat, excited. Obviously, he's playing more. But the physicality has been good. Being able to get the edge a little bit has been really good to help out. So I've seen a really positive, upbeat, like kind of an added energy into the offense for in the run game for a little bit. That's what I've seen. And he's a great young man when you talk to him anyways. But kind of that and then physicality kind of helped us kind of get the edge and do something we haven't been able to do from the run game. So it's been a real big help, especially with us getting thinner in that position.
And then Lance yesterday alluded to that maybe hoping the running backs are healthy or feeling better about that? Or
yeah. Well, every day you kind of like, it's so funny because it happened so many times at quarterback, unfortunately, last couple of years, right? You're like, and I always tell the guys the same thing, like, oh, when I show up in the morning, see if a Trek gives a thumbs up or thumbs down, let's roll with this. But the good thing has happened, like I say this all the time, is I'm so thankful the way we practice to be able to give guys reps. So if something does happen, they know what they're doing. It's not like it's not a huge, oh my God, drop off in terms of the mental part of it. It's like they can jump into play. But yeah, I'm hoping every day that I just keep seeing the guys that we need to see out there or want to see out there. But they are doing well. They are doing well. And then we'll see coming tomorrow and the next day. But I'm excited to hopefully get them all. It's always good when they're all back. They're full power for sure in that position.
How are Nolan's hands, and is he banging on
throwing
the ball?
That's the one thing, because every once in a while I get to look at Coach, maybe an 80s number. Maybe, not that you don't need it, but maybe I'm like, let's go big, one step at a time. Let's go one step at a time. I won't up that box, but no, he does. He actually does have good hands. He'll say he has great hands. He's solid. He's solid. We could, when he'd catch it. I'm pretty sure he'd catch it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Thanks.
That's KU offensive coordinator Jim Zebrowski. Boy, it would be a welcome sight if KU finds a way to hang about 40 in each of these next two games. Daniel, it's not going to be easy, particularly on Black Friday against Utah. But Iowa State is a team that, as the California kid alluded to yesterday, they ain't got no pass rush.
Right.
So we don't know if we're going to have both Daniel Highshaw and LeSean Williams at 100%, right, based on what Coach Leipold said earlier this week. But Jalen Daniels, this is another great opportunity for him. I mean, he's had success in his career against Iowa State. Obviously, the KU program has as well since Coach Leipold got here. And this seems like it could be good eating. When Kansas has gone up against a lot of really solid pass rush, Iowa State's a good team. They're 6-4, but they don't have that element. JD should be comfortable back there.
For sure. And we actually asked JD about that in his media availability. We'll hear that tomorrow. But, I mean, yeah, like you said, their defense, Haycock is sort of the grandfather of the 3-3-5 with, the 3 high safeties and the rover who gets down into the run fits and all that different kind of stuff. It's a fun defense to watch, but you're already limited with a 3-man rush. And yes, you can obviously the way that you get the rushes, you bring pressure from some of the other pieces around. But Iowa State hasn't really been able to do that this year, especially with the fact that they've had so many injuries on their defensive side of the ball, which is unfortunate for them, but maybe fortunate for Kansas, right? And in years past, Jalen has really done an excellent job against an Iowa State defense that is what is regarded as the new hot shiny thing that is going to be really hard to kind of pass against. JD had an excellent has done excellent with it, but like you said before, the main thing that you need to do against that kind of 3-3-5 with the 3 high safety and the rover is you need to establish a run. And right now we know that Daniel Highshaw is questionable. It came out on the availability report last night. So, really unfortunate for Kansas. Hopefully Highshaw will be able to come back, but also we have confidence in LeSean Williams. We know that he is still a very, very good running back and is able to do whatever he wants to do. So you got to establish a run, and I feel confident that JD is going to have a very good game, especially after what is a somewhat depleted Iowa State defense. Going to be a hostile environment though. Jack Trice Stadium is always going to be a tough place to play. Their fans are going to be all rowdy, but at the same time, I feel really good about Kansas's chances, and this may be the last opportunity that Kansas has. Obviously,
that is not true.
No, I know, but they have Utah. Okay, not last opportunity, but I feel better about this game than I do about the Utah game because Devin Dampier has been so freaking good, and Utah has really been hot, and not a lot of people are talking about how good that they have been in this year, right? And Utah, they're going to be trying to make a statement because right now the way that you're looking at it is they're probably not going to make the Big 12 championship, right? It's going to be BYU or Texas Tech. They're going to take 2 of those teams. Utah could potentially miss out on the CFP, so they're going to try to run up the score on as many people as possible because BYU has the tiebreaker with Utah. So Utah is really going to come out firing, especially in that last game, to try to make their case to make the CFP. So I feel more confident about this Iowa State game than I do about the Utah game. Kansas got to win this one.
Well, I think one thing that we can probably say confidently, in all likelihood, both these games are going to be 1-score games.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And Kansas will have the home field advantage against Utah. Hopefully everybody gets out there and supports KUathletics.com/tickets, and some people come back after their Thanksgiving feast to support KU football. But more importantly, let's get that 6th win in Ames. That would be a joyous Saturday. It's an 11 a.m. kick. So let's at 4 p.m. enjoy our Saturday ahead of us after clinching bowl eligibility. That would be fun. And certainly we're going to have more football coverage on Rock Chalk Sports later on in the show and on tomorrow's show as well. Going to hear from Dak Brinkley, Nolan Gorczyca. Also, we'll have Brian Hanni coming on here in a couple segments as well. But college basketball news. Hey, you mentioned yesterday that you were wrong about Trey White and not being excited enough about him. I'm wrong about not being high enough on Arizona basketball.
Yes.
Because I think they were 13 in the preseason poll, and I said, man, I know they got a good freshman coming in Koa Pete. These dudes just beat UConn last night, and they already have a win over Florida. So they've beaten the teams that have won the last 2 national championships. There's no reason Arizona shouldn't be number 1 in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Purdue and Houston have been really good. They haven't beaten 2 teams of the caliber of UConn and Florida. So I think Arizona should be number 1 in the country when the new AP poll comes out. But impressive stuff, 71-67 as underdogs. They got it done. And they seem to be rounding into form. And it's not just Koa Pete. They've got a lot of really good players.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And, Jaden Bradley had 21 points yesterday. Koa Pete had 16. And everybody really played a role. But the thing that sticks out to me, Arizona was plus 20 on the rebounds. They had 43 rebounds compared to UConn's 23. So really impressive. And the big men are fantastic. And it's not just the big men. Their guards are getting down there. And they play hard. They understand that they probably feel a little bit underrated as well. That I know a lot of people, kind of thought that they were maybe frauds, including you.
Yes.
And they're really good. They went into stores and they laid it down on UConn. So UConn obviously is going to be playing Kansas later in the month. So that's going to be a very fun game to watch for. But Kansas also takes on Arizona this year, and it's going to be interesting to see because Koa Pete, his draft stock is certainly rising. He has been a monster all year long, but man, Arizona they just look really, really good.
This freshman class is crazy. How about old friend alert, Diggy Coit?
Yes!
8 of 10 threes. He hangs 41 points last night.
Unbelievable.
And Maryland's overtime victory over Mount St. Mary's. So
yes.
I don't think they were thrilled at the Xfinity Center that game went to overtime, but Maryland wins 95-90. Coit hangs 41.
Mount St. Mary's, they were like in the 260s in Ken Palm. So
Yeah.
not great for Maryland.
Not great, but a really efficient day from the field. He hit
Diggy
all
Coit.
11 of his free throws.
I am so like
he was a good shooter for us.
Here's the thing. Like I people can say whatever they want about the transfer portal and NIL and rev share and all that stuff. I still any Jayhawk who spends time as a Jayhawk, I still, appreciate what they did in their time that they were here, right? I mean, go down the list. I will say, yes, I was very happy that, they were a part of this squad. Same goes to Diggy Coit. I love to see him, thriving elsewhere, right? Because that was a guy who came over from Northern Illinois who nobody really knew of because he was too short, and he's a good scorer, but he can't really do anything at the Power 5 level. Well, he came into Kansas, made an impact certainly, and then transferred over to Maryland. 41 points, like you said, 8 for 10 from the 3-point line. I absolutely love to see it out of former Jayhawks.
We've got Thanksgiving draft coming up, Thanksgiving feast, best Thanksgiving plate, obviously in honor of next week. Next week's going to be a little hit or miss with Rock Chalk Sports. You're still going to see us all over kansasnation.com. We're going to have some hits. We're going to have, of course, game day coverage, 3 KU basketball games and a KU football game, but we won't have our standard Rock Chalk Sports shows next week. But stay locked in at kansasnation.com. We won't miss a beat. Before we get to that Thanksgiving fantasy draft, Thursday Night Football tonight, Daniel. Texans hosting Buffalo. Houston is plus 5.5. Over-under is 43.5. Who do you like?
It's in Houston, correct?
Yes.
I like Keon Coleman, 2 touchdowns in this game. I think that they're gonna. What?
Keon Coleman, 2 touchdowns in this game. Okay.
What's wrong with that?
All right.
Former Jayhawk legend, Keon Coleman.
That is, just so you know, plus 4,500.
Fine.
Okay.
That's fine. That's free money. But no, I do like the Bills in this game. I think they're gonna, they're doing a good job of bouncing back, and I think Houston, they're just not a good team. They're not good right now. I understand that they have pieces that are there. 5.5 to me feels low, even though we always talk about anything over 5 or 6 in an NFL game always seems super high.
It's hard to be a Davis Mills believer. I agree.
That's the thing. It's like CJ Stroud's out. They have Davis Mills. I just don't see a world where the Bills don't win this game by at least 10.
I usually like the home dogs, but I got to ride the Bills. Yeah, the Bills are kind of hit or miss, but when they're good, they're really good. Give me them minus 5.5. And also value on James Cook to score a touchdown, minus 105. You kidding me?
Wow.
He'll get in, right?
Dude, give me first touchdown for James Cook.
First touchdown for James Cook at plus 500. All right. That's going to Dan Courtwright. Those odds courtesy of DraftKings. Special fantasy draft Thanksgiving foods coming up after this. Rock Chalk Sports, kansasnation.com, and ESPN Kansas City. John Kellerman, Dan Courtwright, Elijah Schmidt, and Gabe Boucher with you here on Rock Chalk Sports, kansasnation.com, and ESPN Kansas City. Fantasy drafts. It's Thursday. You know what 1 week from today is? Chiefs Cowboys, 3:30. How about that?
That's a great poll.
Chiefs better be 6-5 going into that.
You better hope so.
Jonathan Taylor, man, is he going to cook?
No. I don't like the Colts. I still think they're on fraud watch. I've gone back and forth.
At some point, you got to stop saying that. You're going to win the Super Bowl, and you're going to say they're on fraud watch.
There was literally 1 week where I was like, maybe they're not frauds, and then I'm back to them being frauds.
Well, they lost the Steelers, I think, so there's that. But yeah, how about Indiana football fans? Literally.
Good for them.
Number 2 in the country. Never thought I would see the day. And then the Colts with Danny Duckets. All right, fantasy drafts.
Yes, we're not gonna have a show on Thursday.
So we're gonna make this easy.
We're doing a fantasy draft of Thanksgiving foods, and we're not gonna be associating them with basketball players or basketball.
No smiles, just straight, just a draft.
Just straight draft.
No jokes, no smiles.
Whoever wins is who has the best plate.
Yes.
So I have the MIAA flipping coin right here. The MIAA side is heads. The football player is tails. This is from the only game I ever got meaningful playing time in. September 12th, 2019 against Northeastern State. I played in 3 snaps. 2 of them were victory formation. Sean, I will let you call it in the air.
All right. Tails. Oh my God. It went down the crack of the couch. God.
Elijah's going to grab it.
I should have guessed sideways. You're just
pull it out,
going to have to flip it
it
for us.
Yeah. Can you flip it for us?
Yeah.
Oh, it's tails.
Yes, great flip, Big Lodge.
Dang it.
All right, so that means I get 1-1 overall.
Against me.
1-1. No, the coin is conspiring against you and has been for about 2 years.
It's horrible.
All right. I mean, Here's the thing: is how much is going to be.
So actually, I'm okay with not having the one here.
It feels like a lot of pressure. It's like
Yeah.
how much am I going to be depending on the masses?
Well,
to,
because if you want to be consistent,
then
you
I know
did
what my
say-
1 over.
You did.
You're
say
right. I'm sticking to my guns. Give me stuffing. Number 1
Horrible
overall.
Pick. What a terrible pick.
Stuffing, oftentimes referred to
Dreadful.
as dressing, which I hate when people call it dressing.
Who do you know that calls it dressing?
But I don't know. But classic stuffing, man. Are you kidding me? You get it just like you're losing respect for me. How do you not?
fine.
How
No,
do
no,
you
no,
not
no.
love stuffing, dude? It's the best part.
I'm trying to make. I'm
Greasy
trying to.
deliciousness.
Yeah, it's good. Is it 1-1 overall? Good.
Yes.
No, and we had this conversation. Stuffing is only Thanksgiving food. There's plenty of foods that you eat year round because that's just the way that it goes.
You can
only
eat
eat stuffing once a year.
You can eat stuffing anytime you want.
Do
you just have to
you?
buy the box.
Do you?
Stovetop brand.
Do you eat stuffing whenever you want?
Say do you more.
Do you?
No. I don't. Pretty much only on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. If you loved it so much, you would eat it year round.
Remember the Friends episode where Ross pronounces butternut squash squatter nut bosh? It's good stuff. All right, you get
Thank
2
you
in a row here. Snake
That's,
dress.
Thanks for bringing that up and
Yeah.
derailing this whole thing.
Yes.
We decided before, is mac and cheese a Thanksgiving dish?
I mean, are you going with the same logic you just said for stuffing?
You can eat it year round, but you also eat it at Thanksgiving.
Right.
No, I didn't veto your stuffing pick. I
No,
just
I
said
know.
it's a terrible pick.
I thought you said we weren't going to have the mac and cheese conversation again because we did this last year.
Right. But I can't remember if it was vetoed or not last year.
I will allow you to have it. Is that what you're going to take?
You're going to let me take mac and cheese?
Is that what you want? You can have it. That's fine.
I'll take mac and cheese.
All right.
All right, give me mac and cheese. And then I have another one. And it's staring me in the face that I really do, because it's the staple. It's what makes Thanksgiving. I mean, I got to go with turkey.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's a good
there.
pick.
Like,
I think it's a good pick.
It's very annoying. It's like there's a lot of really good options there, but it's like if you can take turkey, you take turkey.
What's strike through on the keyboard? Elijah, do you know? Control. It's not Control Z. I'm trying to keep track. Control S. Let's try that.
It's different on a
Wasn't
Mac.
that-
So I don't
dang.
know.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had a Mac. You know what? You've
Strike that
got
one.
a lot of money. Why don't you buy me?
You
buy me a
should've-
Mac.
You should have known.
That'd be nice.
I don't
All
have a
right,
lot of
so
money. I
I've
have zero money.
got stuffing, and you've got mac and cheese and turkey. Obviously, I'm behind the sticks a little bit,
You-
but I'm only
It's third
I'm
and
only
12,
one
partner.
I'm only one pick deep. So I got to figure out what I can take to sort of get me back in the conversation. Which
Sure.
again, this is
You got- and
this
you-
isn't surprising to me. I wasn't about to stick
Right.
turkey number 1 overall.
You got to take the flashy player.
I'm
here.
gonna play to the masses here because it's not really how I feel,
Sure.
but I think I need to make this pick: mashed potatoes.
Oh, that's a pander pick.
It has
Actually,
to,
no.
it has to be.
Here's that. I watched film on this kid.
But
He's-
you
he's-
understand where I'm at. Like it's
He's on my
again,
big board.
again, to your point, I wouldn't say 3rd and 12. I would say it's 2nd and 26.
Sure.
And it's like I'm back up at the 5-yard line, and I don't want a situation where I turn the ball over or have to punt from deep in my end zone.
Get
so
it,
I
yeah.
run a little halfback dive, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm getting close. Now I'm
Sure.
at 3rd and 14
Right.
because I got 12 yards.
Right.
So anyway, I'm back in it.
I like the pick. No, you had that's one of those where you have to take
I
it.
had
Also,
to.
by the way, I don't know why you don't agree with this. Like mashed potatoes, I was looking at him 1-1 overall.
Yeah, I mean,
mashed potatoes to me.
but I've had a
are-
lot of bad mashed potatoes.
Yeah, but what about good mashed potatoes?
Yeah, I don't
I've had a
know.
lot of bad cheeseburgers too, but I've had great cheeseburgers.
Have you had bad cheeseburgers? Are hard to mess up.
Yeah, it's true. What's something that I've had? I mean, I've had a lot of bad everything.
Like even bad
But
pizza.
like
Still
whenever
good pizza.
exactly like a frozen pizza in the oven is not nearly as good as the best pizza I've ever had. But when I think about pizza, I think of usually the better pizzas.
Yeah.
So whenever I think about mashed potatoes, I usually think about the better mashed potatoes that I've had.
You remember those like microwave meals?
Do I? I still eat 'em.
Microwave
Kid
meals.
cuisine.
Yeah, it was the kid cuisine. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yes, because they were literally like Thanksgiving meal, but they would
Interesting.
have chicken nuggets instead of, and then they would have like mac and cheese and corn and
Is that what you're gonna
stuffing
get?
and
Is
all
that what your daughter's
I'm
gonna
going
eat
with
this year?
maybe. Oh no, dude, she'll eat literally everything on the
That's
table.
good. She's not picky.
Oh my god,
That's
dude.
great.
It's insane.
Man.
Her one of her favorite foods is broccoli. Granted,
That is
her
crazy.
favorite foods are, and she told us this last night. Her favorite food are treats. And then I said, okay, after treats, her second favorite food is treats. But
Treats is pretty.
yeah, and then after that, it's cheese. So
that's a good pick.
it's
Yeah,
hard
that's fair.
to mess with that. But yeah, she
get that.
does the cheese and
Sure.
berries, fruit. But yeah, treats are.
So you got
fucking-
you got stuffing mashed, you got mashed potatoes.
I've
you got
got
another
one more, and I've got one that's kind of gonna break your heart here because again, it's not as much pandering as much as it is. I'm going to take this guy so that you can't.
Sure.
Give me pecan pie.
Yeah, there you go.
That is a great pick.
There you go. That's fine, and I respect that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're
So
playing.
I got to
you're
take a
playing
different
defense
approach.
a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah.
you have to.
That's fair.
You have to. Like I love to do that in fantasy football drafts. Like
Mhm.
if the guys behind me, like back when tight ends were big, like there was 6 or 7 good tight ends, which I guess is probably still true. But like I would have, you know, Gronk, and then I would, when it came back around, because you have a flex, it came back
Yeah.
around, I would take Antonio Gates
Yeah,
just to make the people
just
behind
becau-
me be
no,
like, why is he taking him? He's already got a tight end. I'd be like,
Yeah.
love it. I'm gonna start 2 tight ends.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
Put Antonio Gates at your flex.
Just
It's
to
so
annoy,
funny.
just to annoy
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Well, and also it's a token piece too, which we don't do trades here, but that's solid. Okay, so you have stuffing, mashed potatoes, pecan pie. I have mac and cheese and turkey.
I mean, that's a first down for me.
Yeah, that's good. You have kind of come
Clawed
back
my way, yep.
okay, question. You can veto this if you want. And if not, I'm going to take it. What do you think about gravy on its own?
I'm good with it.
So I can take gravy, just gravy. I'll put gravy on everything. You don't have to put gravy on just mashed potatoes.
But does that mean that I can't?
Whenever you think of gravy, do you think of gravy as a separate entity, or do you think of gravy on like your mashed potatoes?
I think of gravy on my mashed potatoes.
Yeah, but I put gravy on my turkey too. I'll put gravy on my stuffing.
Yeah, I
and
don't think you can take it because I'm not comfortable.
You're vetoing gravy.
I don't know. That's tough because I don't want to have a situation where I can't put gravy on anything.
That's what this is about. So that's why. So I'm going to take gravy because then you're going to have gravy-less mashed potatoes.
Yeah, see, that's.
I'm going to take gravy.
All right, fine. I'll let you. I'll let you
look
do
at
it.
All right, I'm taking gravy.
That I don't like that at all, though.
That's a very it's a defensive move by me. Because now you have mashed potatoes with nothing on it.
Right. Which, if it's a good mashed potato, just like you say with steak.
Sure, and that's fair. Yeah, right. With steak, you should. Yeah, I mean, with a good steak, you shouldn't put steak sauce on it because you don't need it. Right. So that's fair. If they're good mashed potatoes, you don't need the gravy, but also it helps. You know what I mean? Like gravy is still a good thing to put on there. But you put gravy on everything, right? You just that's what you lather it all. You throw gravy on the cranberry sauce and you know in your whiskey sour. I mean everything. You put it on everything,
pizza,
right? Elijah agrees.
Pizza
with me.
on your TV when you're watching football.
I'm just Thanksgiving dinner, whatever. Okay. And then for my next pick, I'm gonna do this because you have a dessert. I'm gonna take the other obvious.
You taking
flaring
pumpkin
dessert.
pie?
I'm taking pumpkin pie.
That's fair. It's safe but effective.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I feel good about my plate right now. I got turkey, gravy, mac and cheese, and pumpkin pie. Not a lot of side. I guess mac and cheese is a good side. The mashed potatoes that you took really throws a wrench in things because this is mashed potatoes. It goes without a doubt on my perfect plate.
I think you know where I'm going next.
Okay.
I need a protein. Give me the honey ham.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, and again, same thing. If you've got
honey
brown
ham or just
sugar, honey ham. If you've got brown sugar glistening off that, again, I can find a way to survive without gravy. So now all of a sudden, it's anybody's game, right? Because you had the turkey and you've got, mac and cheese. You're not putting gravy on that. So I get what you're doing. You're not putting gravy on your pumpkin pie. So you got some work to do all of a sudden. As I feel like I've sort of taken the lead here.
Gravy's
early in the third quarter.
He's a specialty player.
He is
right.
So
and,
you kind of have to build the team around him.
Yeah,
is a problem.
That is
somehow we're still doing this as teams, even though we said we weren't.
I know. That's true.
Anyway, and then my other pick as a snake draft thing, I have a couple that I'm really confident with, but give me dinner rolls. You kidding me?
Damn it! I know.
You kidding me? And yeah, that includes butter on them.
Okay, all
So
right.
buttered-
I won't
buttered
take,
rolls.
I wasn't gonna take just butter. I mean,
I'm gonna
that's
take buttered
that's
rolls.
fair. That's
God,
fine.
man, this is all of a sudden.
Good for
All of
you.
a sudden, man, you
No,
were
I'm not
behind
worried.
the
I'm not
sticks.
worried. I'm not worried at all.
If you keep saying, if you keep saying it, then
the
it'll
sweat
actually
on
be
my
true.
brow is completely unrelated. Okay, so I have 2 back to back here. I know where I'm going with my first one. Go ahead and give me green bean casserole.
Okay. A little bit of a specialty. Some people aren't a huge fan of it. I personally do like green
It's
bean
so
casserole.
good. Well, especially when you get if you make it right, you got to have the crunchies on the top and the. I mean,
Yeah.
it's and that's the thing. You can't I'll put gravy on my green bean casserole.
Yeah.
You got to, right?
I mean, some green bean casserole doesn't already have, or no, it has cream of mushroom.
I think cream
soup or
cream of something. Maybe cream of chicken.
Maybe
One of the two. A good green bean casserole, because again, this goes back to what we were saying about the mashed potatoes. A good green bean casserole cannot be beat. A bad green bean casserole can be bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the good one.
I feel like when I go to my in-laws, there's like 3 or 4 different versions of green beans. It's like, guys, stop. Like
Yeah.
we don't, I like green bean casserole, but there's like all of a sudden there's a thing of green beans on the stove, and like I don't need more green beans. It's
Right.
it's a good thing to have on your plate.
Yeah, for sure.
But is it something that you go back for seconds?
Yeah,
probably not.
I do.
Right? Because you're going
Kidding
back
me?
for mashed potatoes and you're going back for some honey ham, glistening with brown sugar. Glistening.
Glistening with brown sugar. I'll put that in parentheses. And then for my last pick in this draft.
Oh, and he botches it.
I got to do this. Yeah, I have not been drafting well. I mean, I'm going to take this because I know I don't want you to have it. I'm going to take cranberry sauce.
I wanted cranberries. I'm a huge cranberry sauce guy.
Me too. It's
That's
so
where I
good.
was going.
But that's those ones where you only eat it at Thanksgiving. Like I've never been at the store in June and be like, ooh, cranberry sauce.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The problem with that pick is that people are weird, and 70% of our listeners probably don't love cranberries.
Well,
right?
and that's insane because you got to think about the flavor profiles there, right?
Yeah, you need a little bit. I don't like that you have cranberries and gravy.
So you have the saltiness of the gravy and the savoriness of the gravy and the turkey, and then you also have the sweetness of the cranberry sauce. So the palate is really fully coated with my plate. And then you get the mac and cheese, which you have that cheesy flavor. Green bean casserole can be savory. Savory is probably not the right word.
You get a little bit of a crunch factor though, to your point.
Right. So it's I'm a little bit, I'm covering all my bases.
Yeah,
essentially.
Hey, that's fair. But I'd be happy with either of our plates. I'm happy with my plate. My final pick, it's going to be sweet potato casserole. It is the pecans, the brown sugar on top. Yes, brown sugar is a family favorite. But that way, you've got the mashed potatoes, plus you've got the sweeter yams, if you will.
Yeah. Sweet potatoes are underrated, I think.
Yeah, I think we didn't take enough desserts.
The marshmallows on the top of the sweet potato casserole.
Dude. Oh,
of course.
So good.
Oh, gosh, get out of town. What are some snubs?
Yeah, honorable mention snubs, I guess.
I mean, I'd go just corn, probably.
Corn
would have been up there.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's another one.
A variety of pies: cherry pie,
variety,
apple pie. Cherry pie is good.
So there's other different
Chocolate
variations, right? Like a turducken, if you will. You know, like that was left on the table.
Tofurkey,
like roasted sweet potatoes instead of like a sweet tofurkey.
Yeah.
Like roasted sweet potatoes. Like that's another one. Like candied yams. Just an assortment of different things.
I've got.
I feel like overall we did a relatively good job. I think.
I've got Cool Whip on mine just because you got to put that on top.
No,
and then I got 7-layer Jello, which I'm pretty sure that's what you didn't know what it is. It's that. Dude, it's all the Jellos.
Yeah, but how long does that take to make? Because Jello,
I think it takes a while. I think you have to do layer by layer.
You gotta put a Jello in the fridge for an hour.
It's good, man. I'm telling you.
That's a 7-hour process.
My team. So is a turkey. Turkey's like 13 hours.
I know.
I've got honey ham. I'm not going in order. I just want you to envision this plate: honey ham, mashed potatoes, sweet potato casserole, stuffing, buttered rolls, and pecan pie. Are you kidding me? And yours?
So I got turkey, green bean casserole. Cover those with gravy. Got mac and cheese on the side, cranberry sauce in a corner, and I got pumpkin pie for my dessert. That's a good plate.
I mean,
that's a good.
I'm getting hungry talking about it.
I can hear my stomach like barking like a dog.
Yes, we are going to put these on Twitter. You can tell us who had the better Thanksgiving plate. I'm surprised we didn't go with like a plate of football or watching football or something, but there's really no way to do that
Home
because it's
plate.
a plate. It's a
Yeah,
plate.
right. Yeah, no,
home plate,
well,
right. Anyway, after
whatever.
this, Brian Hanni, the voice of the Jayhawks, will join us here in studio to talk all things KU on Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, and ESPN Kansas City. Every Thursday on the show, we're joined by Brian Hanni, the voice of the Jayhawks, to talk KU basketball, KU football. A lot going on, of course. BH, thanks for coming by in studio as always. Big week for you, busy couple weeks, right? We were talking at the top about how you're going from Sin City to Ames, that we confirmed does not have a nickname, to Sin City. And yeah, did I already say that? Yeah,
Big
city that never
Apple-
sleeps.
Big Apple
Or the city
to-
that never sleeps.
I said the New York of the Midwest, Ames, Iowa.
Ames, Iowa.
And then you're going to Sin City.
Going to Sin City. But anyway, well-traveled Brian Hanni. A lot of exciting stuff, of course. Exciting week ahead for you. But let's talk about the game that took place in Madison Square Garden. Loved the fight out of KU. I mean, that was my takeaway. Don't like moral victories, but man, they came out playing with pride. And if not for some foul trouble, just may have taken down the Blue Devils.
I can't remember ever being so pumped up after a double-digit KU basketball loss, but I was, because if you rewind the tape even just 11 days back to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, not to make too much of the performances of guys like Council and Dawson and White on that day, because it was, early season game on the road at a 21,000 seat venue, but we had guys that didn't look settled in at the time. And we mentioned, are they ready for the big stage and the bright lights when they're transferring in from St. Bonaventure or Loyola Chicago? I mean, that's a big jumping into the deep end of the pool type acclamation right out the gates. But to see how far they've come in just a couple of weeks, less than really, that to me was the biggest positive takeaway, because once you get Darren Peterson back, and Coach Self continues to say sooner rather than later, he'll be reevaluated tomorrow before they get set to head out to Vegas on Saturday. Once you get him back, you're going to be so much better for it, because now these guys have much greater belief in them belonging and what they can bring to a program like Kansas. And to see the turnaround within one game of Melvin Council from the first half to the next. Holy moly. 1 of 8 to start the game, couple wild misses where he was kind of forcing it, but trying to find his footing, a little bit sped up. And of course, he always plays at a high rate of speed. But to see the way he started the second half, hitting his first 4 shots, and just really was the main catalyst in the initial comeback there. And obviously, Trey White was great throughout the game. But I left Madison Square Garden feeling so positive about those 3 guys and what they're going to continue to bring. Flory Bidunga, last couple of games, has been outstanding, one of the nation leaders in field goal percentage to start the season. He looked really good when he could stay on the floor. And so, to your original question, were it not for that foul trouble at about the 6:20 mark of the first half when he picks up his second, and then we end up with 3 players with 2 fouls each in that first half. And so we saw lineup combinations that I never would have thought we'd see at MSG versus Duke, but Bill's hand was kind of forced there late in the first half, and obviously the game turns. But the way that they still fought and scrapped and clawed to make it competitive, and really the bulk of that second half was played at a 2-possession margin. Nobody was saying that during shoot-around on Tuesday on the outside. They might have believed that internally, but, we're talking to some of the national people that day, and the news had come out from Jeff Goodman, and then Kansas had confirmed it that DP's going to be out, and you just felt like all the pundits nationally were immediately writing us off, and they're thinking, okay, well, man, hopefully it's a decent game at least in that late window. Turned out to be the better game than the first game of the night by far. If you look at Kentucky, Michigan State. And so I was really encouraged and remain very optimistic based on what we saw Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. I know with those strange lineup combinations, Dan was shocked to see the law firm out there at the same time. But you had to do that when Flory Bidunga got that second foul with 6:40. KU was minus 14 the rest of the half after Bidunga left with 2 fouls. So that was definitely a turning point. And then Trey White, I mean, he comes over as kind of, I don't know if he's the type of player that you would say is a glue guy, but a piece around other pieces, right? But he's shown flashes these last 2 games, Brian, where it's like maybe he can't be a consistent star who's going to be drafted in the NBA, but he could be a star college player. Love that he can draw contact, and love that he seems to have such a high basketball IQ, knowing when to do what.
Totally. And you had asked on a previous episode of Rock Chalk Sports if DP is the every night leading scorer and Flory is your second most likely scoring leading option. who's the other guy that could mix in most regularly as that complement to DP as the second leading scorer? And he was the obvious answer amongst a list of 5 guys that on any given night could be that complementary piece. But he's the guy with the most major conference experience and seasoning to mix into that role where for key stretches he could put the team on his back a little bit. And I think in the Princeton game where you saw him getting the ball downhill, drawing contact, getting to the stripe for double-digit free throws, who'd that remind you of? We've been saying,
Jalen Wilson.
Jalen Wilson from the get go, and I've been trying to think of the right way to phrase it because you don't want to say poor man's Jalen Wilson or Jalen Wilson light. Yeah, I don't know what the right
Smaller,
way.
Clone,
yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, Jay Will was a NBA draft pick, and who knows, maybe Trey White still proves to be that. But Jay Will was a first team All American.
Yeah.
So this is a guy cut from a similar cloth. Help me find the right way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Because it's not 2.0. It's not Jay Will Jr.
Right.
But I think we're seeing traits of Wilson, and obviously as Jayhawk fans, we always want to put comparisons on guys because it's our nostalgic, reach back to the past, whether it's the Melvin Council, Tyshawn Taylor comparisons, or people want to talk about Cole Rosario and Christian Brown and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But to me, there's some Jay Will light there, if you catch my vibe, and I think that as his confidence continues to grow and he feels more free to take off and initiate from the wing with those hard slashing drives that either get him to the rim, get the ball to somebody else in position to score, or get him to the line. What a weapon that can be on nights when you have DP and nights when you don't. It's nice to see a veteran like that who certainly feels acclimated by now take a little bit more ownership and control of what it's going to look like.
Yeah. Brian Hanni, voice of the Jayhawks, joins the show here live in studio at the Kansas Nation studio. Brian, wanted to talk to you about some of the, because I left that game feeling very good about Kansas. It's weird to leave a 12-point game feeling good about it, or 12-point loss feeling good about it. But there were some things that kind of poked out to me. Number one, the big man foul trouble. That is going to be a gigantic issue if Flory and Bryson continue to get into foul trouble. That's when Duke really went on the run and kind of separated themselves from Kansas. Talk about, just how important it is for both Flory and Bryson to kind of be out there, and how you think maybe rotations should work to kind of have that depth, because when both of them were out there, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, both of them had 2 fouls, had to come out at like the 6-minute mark.
Yeah, and in terms of rotation stuff, we'll see what it looks like once Darren's back and the combinations he wants to go with. But I think they've enjoyed seeing some extended minutes of those two side by side and the imposing length that can create, and athleticism on the back line. But you have to obviously play without fouling. And that doesn't just mean playing carefully when you're contesting shots. It means sometimes 94 feet from your bucket where you're fighting for a rebound on the offensive end, and you get a little too greedy or a little too revved up and you commit a foul that had no business coming. We've seen that at times from both those guys in these first 5 games. But I think the big thing that Greg Gurley harps on all the time as our color analyst is when you make a very demonstrative downward swiping motion at a block or a reach or whatever, whether you caught wrist or you caught all ball, it looks bad. And so there have been a couple instances of that where you want to see them wall up and contest without making just a wild swat at the ball,
volleyball,
because ultimately, whether it was there or it wasn't, sometimes those are the plays that get called as fouls. So continue to be the dynamic athletes that you are. Continue to provide that bouncy, springy length on the back end, contesting as much as you can, but play a little bit composed within yourselves, knowing that sometimes just going straight up and walling up is a better percentage play because you're not putting yourself in line to possibly pick up another quick one. In terms of how they want to stack rotation minutes and playing them separate of each other to try to keep guys on the floor, we'll see what that looks like when DP gets back. I don't want to write off the notion of them playing side by side a lot, because I like what that looks like. It reminds me a little bit more of what it used to look like before we started being more of a 4-round-1 type team. So we'll see. But both young men are growing tremendously in their games. Both, I think, continue to have probably like 6 floors of elevator climb on their respective progress and potential and all that. You guys were talking about on post game the other night, Sean, you and David Lawrence, which player could improve the most from game 5 to the end of the year. And there were a lot of people saying, is it Cole Rosario? I think that was your answer, right? Is it Jaden Dawson? I mean, Bryson Tiller could come a long ways. He's already shown us flashes of hitting 4 threes in the first half at North Carolina, or flashes of being a big physical rebounding presence on the back line. Again, I've said this 10 times on this show, but folks forget this was a top 20 overall player. This was a 5-star. And as he gets more and more comfortable, I mean, he could really be not just a formidable piece, but a vital game changing piece by the end of the year. So the beauty of this Kansas team, as we talk here on November the 20th, is that there's probably 7 guys who aren't even close to scratching or sniffing the peak of their potential. And it could look vastly different November to December, December all the way through March, and maybe just maybe all the way into April, because I think it's a high ceiling team when you've got so many individuals that could still climb so high with where they are today versus where they could be in 4 months.
No doubt. And just love the pride, love the toughness. And you were talking about walling up regarding the big stand out of foul trouble. Jeff Withey, he did that so well, didn't
Yeah.
he? Talk about body control, and he played volleyball.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just obviously has the record for most block shots in a single NCAA tournament, and he was just so good at walling up and knowing exactly and keeping the balls in bounds. You remember that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
He would block shots, but they wouldn't be okay. You're going to restart your possession. They'd be we're going to keep this ball in bounds. KU gets
Yeah.
a chance to go in transition. Speaking of which, love what I saw from KU in transition. They had 5 first half steals. I wanted to ask you about sort of the Dawson Jackson combination. Jaden ends up playing 28. El Marco took a back seat in New York. He played just 6. Did you like what you saw out of Jaden Dawson? Because it seems like at least at this point he's got a higher offensive ceiling, and he was a little nice in transition too.
He does, because he was brought in to be a shooter. The numbers show he's going to be a shooter. Shots haven't fallen consistently yet for him, but this is a guy that showed us some other things to stay on the floor and make other contributions. And so if you eventually add in a couple of 3-point makes per game out of a guy that was specifically brought in to bring that, then yeah, you could be off to the races. And Greg and I talked about it on post game a little bit and late in the regulation, where this was a guy who, for a month was or better part of a month was dealing with an injury that didn't have him exclusively off the floor, but it slowed his progress, his acclimation, caused him to fall behind in the pecking order a little bit. And while he's been healthy the last couple of weeks and ramping it back up, he's making up for lost time. The more he gets comfortable, the more he earns his teammates' trust and his coach's trust, the more you're going to see him on the floor. And I really feel like this is a guy that maybe he's not a starter for you, but he plays significant minutes, hits big time shots, and provides a veteran presence out there that I think we saw him look much more acclimated to being on Tuesday night. So that's another one of those guys where you just feel like we've only begun to see just the tip of the iceberg with him. And it's not me saying he's going to be a star. It's me saying he's going to be an integral piece to what makes this team as good as they can optimally be. And, here we are 5 games in, and we're only beginning to see what he's capable of.
Yeah. Brian Hanni, voice of the Jayhawks, joins the show here in studio. KU basketball going out to Vegas for the Players Era tournament next week. But Brian, let's go ahead and flip the switch over to football as KU taking on Iowa State. Wanted to break them down because this Iowa State team is just riddled with injuries. Very unfortunate for them. Obviously, we know about their defensive scheme, but they've lost a lot of guys on that defensive end of the ball. And Kansas has had Iowa State's number for the last 3 years. So tell me a little bit more about this game, what we can expect out of this, and what's your, I guess, in-depth breakdown in terms of how Kansas can go up into Ames in a hostile environment and get this one done.
Yeah. Well, first off, it bears mentioning because we've talked a lot on this show about trying to get certain streaks snapped, one in particular in state, and trying to turn the tide within head-to-heads. And Leipold, in so many of these annual Big 12 rivalries, has found a way to rise up and beat a Texas in Austin or Oklahoma at home, and those are obviously former Big 12 teams now, but turn momentum. There's maybe not a finer example of it than the Iowa State series, because not only have we won the 3 in a row that you mentioned, but if you go back and look at it, they'd won 11 of 12 in the series. So it wasn't on the KU K-State level of dominance, but talk about having your number.
Wow.
They had ours and then some. And then Lance gets in here and finds a way to flip it really quickly. And I was talking to him about it earlier today before I came over here. He actually asked about you guys, not specifically Sean and Daniel, but he's like, how's Kansas Nation going? How's that studio working out? How's the big dream of 916 Mass coming together? And I said, well, as soon as I leave this pregame taping with you, heading to see those guys. The studio looks great. Show sounds awesome. We're loving it. So he's definitely keeping an eyeball on what you guys are doing. So kudos. But I asked him, I said, man, what's been the difference? And what he said about winning these last three, I thought, man, if only this team could bottle that up for some of these other games. Because he talked about how with the game on the line, they've stepped up and seized it. You know, whether it's a mellow pick six or a big play on a late field goal attempt. You know, they've had plays in key junctures. We use the term at game point, and that's more of a basketball term, but you know what I'm saying? In crunch time,
Yeah.
they've had some big plays where momentum was starting to shift and they stepped up and made the play to finish the fight, to seal the deal. And that's been elusive in some of these other games where we've lost leads late in contests. And yet within this particular series, you've seen some really momentous swings because Kansas, for whatever reason, was able to bring it. And I hope that's the case on Saturday. We'll need to, because as much as you saw Iowa State scuffle, once the injuries started to pile up and they lost 4 straight, they found a way to circle the wagons and get that big win at TCU a couple of weeks ago to get bowl eligible. And you got to tip your cap to them. Really well coached team that folks were picking to win the league in a lot of circles going back to July and August. And through 5 games, it looked like they might until they lost, you know, a couple of key pieces in their secondary and then felt like the injury bug got contagious at that point. So I respect them a ton. I think anytime you got a guy with as many career starts as Rocco Becht, for the last 3 seasons, he's been an institution up there. To me, he's moxie. He's gritty. He's tough. He's one of those guys gets knocked down and comes back and takes your lunch money afterwards. He's so resilient. You expect that from the son of a former NFL first-round draft pick and longtime New York Jet tight end. But you know, I look at some of the personnel. Obviously, they've got 2 great running backs, and young man Carson Hansen's had 3 straight 100-yard rushing games. He's been impressive. But the name that I want to talk about, if we can have 30 seconds on it, is there a better nickname in all of college football than Dominique Big Citrus Orange?
That's great.
The
Big Citrus is
up
awesome.
front on their D line.
Local kid too, right?
KC, yeah,
Yeah.
Casey Moe. Hate to mention that when they go
Right,
to
yeah,
places. Brees Hall, Wichita,
Yeah.
also ends up a Cyclone. But the
Big
Big
Citrus.
Citrus. When I hear Big Citrus, this is so random, most random pull ever. But I think of a Nebraska softball pitcher named Peaches James. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, I thought Nebraska could stake claim to the 2 greatest names in all of college sports. Cookie Belcher was the basketball
Cookie
player,
Belcher.
and Peaches James was their pitcher. But now Dominique Big Citrus Orange might be my favorite.
Imagine the calls you could have if Kansas had a big citrus.
No kidding.
I mean,
you know, I know for Jeff Graves back in the early 2000s, his more common nickname was the Gravy Train, but we called him the Big Gravy back then.
Big
too.
Gravy. That's
And
awesome.
Big Citrus makes me think of Big Gravy in more ways than one. So look for Dominique Orange, because he doesn't just have a great nickname. He's a heck of a defensive lineman up front. And when they say Big Citrus, big is right. 6'4", 330. He brings it. Does the Big Citrus.
Oh man, that's great. Well, you know, Kansas is going to need to have an effective, obviously, offense, but second half, that's been a major struggle. Iowa State, what they do a lot of things well. What they don't do best is rush the passer. And Kansas has gone up against a lot of really good pass rushes. Of course, Texas Tech at the top of that list. But this is a game where KU's going to need to score. They should be able to score. That's been a struggle the last 5 games. You can want to throw out the Oklahoma State game, just 1 second half touchdown. That's not what we're used to in a Jalen Daniels led offense. And it falls on everybody. It falls on JD. He needs to be a little bit better. The receivers need to catch the ball, but you like the idea of Kansas scoring more points in this game, Brian, because JD should be well protected back there. He's going to be able to have more time to make decisions, and certainly he's a guy who can beat you with his arm or his legs. Your confidence level that KU can get consistent offense throughout this one?
Well, that's a huge key, because consistent offense throughout would imply that we play the full 4 quarters, finish strong. To me, the difference between being 5-5 and 7-3, you're talking offense, but I'm going to go defensive for a second. We're a couple of missed potential picks that could have iced the Cincinnati game. It goes right through Trey Lathan's hands. Could have iced the Arizona game in numerous instances. If the penalty flag doesn't come versus Leroy Harris on the 75-yard pick 6, that's a 14-point swing. Saeed Gibbs has the ball, hit him in the hands. Could have been a walk-in pick six there. I'm going to get to your offense in a second, but the point is, like, we had chances to get enough separation to where you didn't have to sweat another 2-minute last moment heartache, heartbreak type scenario that we've been all too familiar with the last 2 seasons. And how that relates to your question is, if you have a chance to put some separation between you and your opponent early because you're consistently driving the football and you're finishing drives in the red zone and you're getting points, hopefully you're not in that spot to have defeat stolen from the jaws of victory yet again at game point. And so my hope is that, to your point, the offense can be consistent throughout. It was great to see Emmanuel Henderson get going a little bit. Ever since his breakout game versus Cincinnati, he hadn't scored until the Saturday in Tucson when he finally finds pay dirt for the first time in over a month. And it was great to see Jalen Daniels, mixing in a multitude of receivers. He got another rushing touchdown. He's now 8th on the career list. I don't know if people realize that.
Yeah.
In rushing TDs in
Right.
KU history.
Damn.
22 of them. And so, yeah, I want to see it consistent throughout. I want to see, the veteran quarterbacks, the edge be to Kansas, because our guy, as you said, is having time to make plays downfield, both with his arm and his legs. And our defense, to go back to that side of the ball, is as disruptive versus Iowa State as what we saw at Arizona, because 5 sacks, and I know their guy ran into a couple of those, but we hadn't seen 5 sacks in a league game in 7 years, going back to 2018 versus West Virginia. Can the Kansas defense, who I thought called it a little more aggressively in Tucson, continue to play with that level of disruptiveness to make life tough on Rocco? Like I said, he's a gamer. He'll get knocked down and get right back up. But can we heat him up more than they put pressure on JD? If so, advantage Kansas, because I love both these veteran quarterbacks. Rocco's one of my favorites in the league. And I think this shapes up to be another one of those back and forth, balling out for 2 veteran QB type games.
Yeah, hopefully just a drop in the bucket for guys like Dak Brinkley, who had his first sack and a half in that one. Leroy Harris, always disruptive. Those guys have big games, and Kansas gets enough offensively, then they're going to be bowl eligible Saturday right around 2:30 p.m. Looking forward to that. Brian, before you get out of here, tell us about Nate Miller and also Hanni and the Hawks. You're cooking. Tell us about that.
We're having fun with it, man. Got to get more and more folks tuned into that. You can watch it right here on Kansas Nation or wherever you find your podcast. But did about 8 football episodes, and we may mix in another one, especially if we extend our season into the bowl picture. But it is probably time to start mixing in some hoopers too. So after we wrap up this show with Rock Chalk Sports, Alonzo Jameson is coming in here.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm going to tell him that Daniel Courtwright, the very resourceful Chip Gaines like Daniel Courtwright, just drilled screws into the backboard here, and he's not allowed to dunk.
That's right.
Because
Not allowed.
Because as Sean knows, and maybe Daniel, his dad, Chris Courtwright, told him, Zoe famously brought the goal down at Late Night in the Fog back in the late 1980s. He has a scar on the top of his head from shattering the backboard and the glass cutting his head and all
I
that.
didn't know that.
So as he comes in here, and eventually you got to show the listeners what we keep talking about.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
your basketball goal.
Yeah.
We always reference it.
I know.
Eventually you got to give him a picture of that. I'm going to tell Zoe, hey, you can have fun. You can eat the Jefferson's food we're going to have for you. You can chop it up with Daniel and Sean and Elijah, but no slams, no vicious
Right.
dunks. I know that's your instinct.
History says anything. Yeah.
Funny story
stay
about
away.
that. Mark Randall was behind him it happened during pregame layup line stuff. And it's kind of like the sword and the stone where, people say, well, you just loosened it. I should have been me that pulled the sword from the stone, right? Randall was giving Jameson crap that it would have been him one more dunk. And it was just his place in the line.
Right.
I don't think anybody believes that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But Zoe was one of my favorites. You're also too young to know that he had 26 in the Elite 8 game versus Arkansas when Kansas famously turned 40 minutes of hell into 20 minutes of oh heck. That was the famous line that day against Nolan Richardson's Razorbacks. So yeah, that's our next episode. But right now you can check out Tuxedo Tony Sands, 396 yards. We got all these 1991 references.
Yeah,
Daniel
right.
was like -20.
I was,
But,
I was not alive.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
So check those out today on Kansas Nation. And check out my man, Nate Miller, sponsors these reports for all your best retirement investing and financial planning into the long-term future. Check out Nate Miller at Miller Retirement Group.
BH, we got a lot of games before we'll be talking to you again, but let's make them all wins, right?
Yeah.
Basketball needs to start stacking some wins, and hopefully be talking to David Lawrence, Brandon McAnderson down the line post-game about KU football being bowl eligible on Saturday. Appreciate you coming in.
Always good to see you guys.
Nolan Gorczyca, KU football coming up after this. KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Let's hear from KU football offensive tackle / tight end Nolan Gorczyca earlier this week.
Nolan, how are
What's
you?
up? Good, how are you?
Good.
All right.
Chat with you out there after you're done.
Okay.
Nolan, what was the bye week like for you?
It was just a good time to get like the body back and recuperated. Obviously, year 5, it's not doing as it did 2, 3, 4 years ago. But yeah, it's just a lot of time to recover and get that body back.
It's strange having 3 bye weeks this year. Have you?
Yeah, I
noticed
mean,
anything?
because playing week 0 is new for us. We'd always talked about like other people playing week 0. You get to watch it during camp, or that first like week 0 for us. Yeah, it's new. It's a little awkward, I guess, just having so much time off and so much time to kind of look back at ourselves and self-scout. But I think that it's really helped our team just kind of take that pressure off from week to week. And like Sunday, you can kind of chill out instead of getting back in and having to like watch the game and then get ready to play the game that next weekend.
How much does it help late? You got one final push ahead. Is there any added bonus to having one late like that?
Yeah, I think because we kind of broke it up into like 3 or 4 different kind of blocks. So we had that first block on the bye week, and then the other block bye week, and this third one. So I think it definitely helps late with just making sure that we kind of get to pause and then kind of like look at where we're at and get back to it.
Nolan, talk about the extra lineman you've been coming in and playing that position. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's fun. It's any opportunity to help the team is what I'm down for. We kind of talked about it last season here and there. Never really got anywhere because we had 3 great tight ends with Cardell, Casey, and
Cure.
There we go. Yeah. Anyone who's in that tight end room is pretty solid. So this year with the injuries and stuff, like obviously you can't just be one-dimensional and stay in like 12 personnel. So added that extra, give those other guys a break so they can run routes. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Just get to know the offense even better than I already do. It's pretty fun.
You bucking with Coach Z to get you some passes?
I give him and Coach Lubick some ideas here and there. I ran doing like a walkthrough. I ran a route and Lubick said it was pretty good. So I was like, hey, maybe we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I love the role I'm in. So whatever they ask me to do, I'll do it for them.
Do you find the types of blocks that you're making, are they different with where you're at as opposed to being a tackle, or is it most of the same stuff?
I think kind of, the point of attack. I mean, most of the time I'm at the point of attack, so it's, just I know that the play is always coming to me, and that I'm pretty, I don't say not like important on the play, but like, yeah, it's the point of attack, so it's going to be a little more. You gotta know that you're there. Like you gotta make that block. But I think at the same time, like a lot of offensive line play and like that tight end play, like being on the edge, it's all very similar because it's the same as if we were playing on a 2-man surface versus a 3-man surface. Like that guy's gonna play his gap. So a lot of it's similar.
Nolan, when you look at Iowa State, what do you see from them defensively?
I see they're great up front. They pretty much always have been as long as we've played them and I've been here. Tough group, physical, excited to play them.
So you just gave an assessment of your hands.
Yeah.
I won't tell you what he said yet, but how do you rate your hands as a pass catcher?
I mean, we haven't really seen it, so I know what I got. If that's good enough for them, hey, we'll see. But yeah.
I think he said solid, and I think he said you might go a little higher than that if you were rating yourself.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty humble about it. Like I obviously don't take Indy with the receivers or anything. I've touched the ball in my career maybe like 7-8 times in a game, and usually falling on fumbles or blocking field goals in high school. Like, so I don't think I've ever caught a pass in a game, or really like a scheduled or like a scrimmage practice. So yeah, always down to find out.
Very cool. And Mikey's been in there too with tight ends at some point. So that's not totally uncommon, but what does it say about the innovativeness of your coaches in this offense to pull you into that, pull Mikey into that? Obviously the injuries are part of that, but What does that say to you?
I think it shows like the buy-in of our team, honestly, that like we have guys who are like down to make a switch late in the season, especially like Mikey's been playing quarterback like all his career, and then to like it takes a lot to be able to like just make the decision like, yeah, I'm gonna buy into a new position. That's not to say he's not working quarterback anymore, but he's learning the offense at a different spot. It'd be the same as asking a guy who's played tackle a lot of his career to move him to guard. Like kind of like what I did when I got to college, is you got to move inside. And so I didn't play a lot of guard in high school. I wasn't really familiar with it, and I played about 2 years here and moved back to tackle. But it's one of those things that's just you got to do it to play. Yeah, I think it does show a lot of our coaches trusting us and trusting the guys who are confident in the offense and confident like with what they're doing, and the guys who understand it like wholly.
How hungry are you guys for getting that 6th win?
I mean, I'm hungry as I can be because it's that last shot for me. So I mean, I want to spend another month with these guys. I love this team and I love being around them. So personally, I'm so hungry in our room, O-line room, like we want that 6th win and that chance to spend more time with each other.
You talked about the coaches having the confidence in you guys to make that switch. What does that mean to you as a player when the coaches have that level of confidence in you?
It means a lot because it's something that you're always working for. You know, we talk as a program. It's like building trust, like with yourself, trust that you can do the right thing, and then building trust with like your teammates, that your teammates trust you to do the right thing, and then also with the coaches that they can trust you to do the right thing. It's a big part of, you know, especially offensive line play with everything. The picture changes, and you got to trust that guy has done, like has the correct preparation, that he's prepared for that moment. Yeah, it's a lot. It means a lot that the coaches like will trust guys in those like kind of, I don't want to say weird areas, but the areas that they're, you know, not specifically trained to do. Yeah.
What was that conversation like when the coaches came to you and said, "Hey, you know, you thought about some tight end type of deal"? Or was it something that you approached them with? Like, what was that? What was that whole process?
I think it was a package one week that we put in as like a goal line package, and then it kind of, you know, it was always in. It was one of those plays that you keep it in the low red zone, and then it grew. After Carson went down, we knew that it was going to have to grow, or else we were going to be kind of one-dimensional in that spot. So after I think it was after, what game did Broom get hurt? Whichever game that was. After that game, Coach A approached me and was like, "Hey, we're going to just be ready that, you know, some of that other stuff might come in." And I was like, "Cool, like whatever I can do to help us win, like I'm down to do." So yeah, and it just grew from there pretty much. Yep.
That was KU offensive tackle Nolan Gorczyca a little bit earlier this week. That's going to do it for Rock Chalk Sports today. Catch us tomorrow from 4 to 6 on kansasnation.com. For Elijah Schmidt and Dan Courtwright, Sean Kellerman saying stay locked in to kansasnation.com for everything you need for KU athletics, and find us on socials at the Kansas Nation. We'll see you later, kansasnation.com and ESPN Kansas City.